Hey folks, this portion goes out to Kristen and Evelyn. Requested to hear a reading in Hebrew regarding the second coming of the Messiah, the return and the dominant victory at the second return. So I'm going to use the Old Testament, of course, because the New Testament, we don't have complete works in Hebrew manuscripts, but in Hebrew, we do have, of course, the Tanakh, the Old Testament, and I'm going to use something that would refer to the second coming. This passage is about blowing the shofar. So I brought my shofar down, and this is a blast sequence of the shofar. So you might want to take a photo of that. I'll leave that there for a second. And let's begin reading. So this is Joel chapter 2. We're going to read verse 15, 16, 17. And just bear with me. I'll give you the English also. So, Tekeah shofar but Zion. Blow the shofar on Zion. Kodeshu zom choro et zera. So what are we going to do? We're going to call a fast. We're going to call the assembly. We're going to sanctify a fast. We're going to call the assembly chora et zera. And we're going to call everybody together. What are we going to do? We're going to gather the people. Esofem kadeshu kahul kebetzu zechnim esef elilim. So the children, v'yenich shadim, and the sucklings, yitzei chethen. That's the groom, chetzen, actually. Michdoro v'chola mechupa. So that's the hupa, the bride's veil. So let me read that in English for you real quick. Gather the people. Who are we going to call the people? Summon the congregation. Assemble the elders. Gather the young children and the sucklings. So basically, this is not just a regular gathering. This is really important. You know, the major feasts, the three major feasts of the year, just the men, the fighting men of war age 20 and up gathered together. But this is something very different, very important, because guess who's gathering? Everyone. The people are the congregation, the elders, the young, the children, the sucklings. And who's coming out? The bridegroom going forth from his chamber. Let's get to that. Back to this. I did read that. So the bride chamber, the bridegroom would go forth from his chamber, and the bride from her canopy, the chuppah, which I mentioned earlier, were those words. Here we are, chuppah. Here you go, the chatan, that's the bride, that's the groom, excuse me. The chala. So that is that's the bride, and then the chuppah is the covering. This is just like this probably. That's my prayer shawl. That thing's so huge you could use it for. You could use this for a covering, a chuppah. If someone loves you enough, you know what I mean. So here we go. Then what are we gonna do when we get all these people together? We're gonna get the priests together. Beyin he'elum v'lo mitzbach. What's that? That's the hall and the altar, mizbach, right? Yivechu heisholim. So basically, mishritzi Yehovah v'yomar. So what are they going to do? They're gonna get the kohanim between the hall and the altar, and let the kohanim, the ministers of Hashem, weep, and let them say, v'yomar, let them say, Chosa Yehovah el emcha. What about your people? Basically, have pity, Hashem, on your people. Let not your heritage be an object of scorn. Al emcha ve'el tetzen nichlozcha. A scorn lechorapa the meshul bam. So the nations to dominate them. Ben Goyim Lema, why should it be said, Yilmaru Beyamim, among Elohim, hey, where's their God? They're asking, why should the nations say, where is their God? Let's see here. Have pity, Hashem, is what the Kohanim should say. Your people, let not your heritage be an object of scorn for nations to dominate them. Why should they say among the peoples, where is their God? So this passage, what this is saying to me is that, God has so much patience. And the days are numbered on the earth. Recently I was doing some studies and I was figuring out that in the book of Exodus, that among the plagues and Paro standing obstinate against Moses and Aaron, and why would God allow wickedness to stand up to him like that, to be obstinate, to be rebellious like that, and right in his face? Why? Because the time is coming when God is going to stand over those who have been lawless and rejecting the holiness of God and his supreme authority over all creation, and who've been denying all those things. He's going to stand over and mock. He's going to mock everyone that mocked him. He has very great patience. This is, I don't know, I just think when I read passages like this, I realize that God has only so much patience. And then he's going to declare himself the victor. It's simple as that. It will happen. So anyway, shalom. This kind of passage really does kind of bring it home to the reality of what's going to happen at the end of the day, you might say. And to my brothers and sisters out there, thank you. I love you. And let's stay holy.